Welcome back. We're live in studio here on Maraval Road. We're also live on Talk City 91.1 FM, and we're live on Facebook. And very soon we're going to get to your chats. You're going to be telling us where you are looking at us from and also what you're up to. We'll chat back with you. But right now, in studio with us, we have Assistant Superintendent Acting of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, Mr. Michael Jackman. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
And how are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
You know, we reached out to you guys recently because the Commissioner of Police recently encouraged or reminded members of the public that they should ask for identification to ensure that, you know, you're dealing with a legitimate police officer. And one of the questions came up was, how would you know that you're looking at a legitimate ID? So we thought, you know, why don't we just get one of the members of the service in to talk about that and maybe some other things? So let's kick off with that question.
Well, the police identification card is really the primary means by which an officer identifies himself while in the execution of his duty.
Yeah.
The card, I have a sample here.
Mm-hmm.
At the top of the card, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and in bold print, police is on the card. You'll see it clearly, right? You'll see the image of the officer in uniform and his identification number, which is 12701 in my case. The rank, substantive rank of the officer, inspector, it may be PC, it may be corporal, it may be sergeant, and the officer's name would be featured there as well. Like in my instance here, Michael Jackman is a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and of course the date of issue is also printed.
Okay.
So that the card may be produced by the officer
Yes.
for the purpose of identification, especially when that card is requested of any person that the police is interacting with.
So what happens when an officer refuses to show identification? What does somebody, a civilian, do?
A civilian may make a complaint. They may make a complaint to the police station within whatever district the incident occurred.
Right.
They may also complain to the Police Complaints Division or to the PCA, Police Complaints Authority.
But
because it really, what you're referring to is a breach of discipline, because the card it ought to be shown whenever requested by a member of the public. Now, when an officer is in uniform in a marked police vehicle, usually on the initial interaction, there would not be a need to identify him or herself, because you're in a marked police vehicle, you're in uniform, so it's quite clear. But if a member of the public at that stage should request, or any time during the course of that interaction, should request to see the police identification card, the police is really obligated to show that card.
So what do you do when, in a situation, the police refuses to show that identification and he or she is asking you to comply with a certain demand or command that they are telling you to do? In a situation like that, how do you respond to something like that when they have refused to show their identification, so you're probably not sure they're an actual police officer, and then you're
resisting.
And you know, any member of the public is entitled to request the name, rank, and regimental number of a police officer, whether in plain clothes or not.
Assistant, you know, that could cause some real problems, you know.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes,
you were saying that here, but you know, really and truly, if a member of the public says, you know, I want you asking me?
It could cause
escalate
an issue, yes. But one also has to be mindful of the fact that there are certain instances which are not very practicable for the police to identify themselves. For instance, if the police is facing some form of aggression or there's a threat to his personal safety, let's say in the face of an suspected, let's say an injury could occur. Right? There's a situation where the officer could be injured or even killed in the line of duty, then it would be impracticable at that point in time where that threat exists, that immediate threat, to take out your identification card and show it to a person who may be about to harm you.
Yes.
Yeah,
all right?
Understood.
There are certain instances where, owing to the fact that you need to preserve property, preserve it from damage, preserve persons from injury, other persons from injury, at that point in time, usually a police officer on initial contact would shout out the word police for the purpose of identification, because at that point in time you may not be able to reach for your ID owing to these circumstances. So members of the public must be mindful of these things as well. Right? But they are entitled to ask for the permit, and at any time that is, let's say, the officer finds it particularly reasonable to produce, based on the circumstances, it's reasonable at that point in time to produce, the officer ought to produce that ID to the person, even though it was not initially done in the first instance.
ASP Jackman, you know, you said earlier that sometimes you would see the police officer in uniform, and I'm not sure if you saw the video. I don't know if you saw the video. There's a video circulating. I didn't want to show it because, you know, we don't know who it is on social media, with this gentleman in a car driving with a police uniform on. But there are others similar where you see members of the public with police uniforms on. How can you tell, you know, is there another way that you can tell whether it's a genuine or an illegitimate uniform, the same way that you can tell with the ID card?
Well, firstly, with respect to the video that is presently circulating on social media, I'd like to inform you that the Professional Standards Bureau is presently engaged in an investigation concerning that video.
Good.
So I can't really speak directly to that particular video.
Okay.
But what I can say generally is it's an offense for any person not being a police officer to be in possession of or to wear any uniform or any apparel that resembles that of the TTPS. And that offense is provided for under the Police Service Act, all right, of 2006. I believe it's section 62. You could refer to that section and you can see that there are very hefty penalties. As a matter of fact, if I could recall correctly, the fine for such a breach of the law is $30,000 and 3 years imprisonment. So you're looking at a serious situation there with respect to that particular type of offense. And we're encouraging persons not to wear anything resembling that of the police uniform, whether it's operational or tactical wear, or the uniform that you're more familiar with, the blue and gray, white tunic, hats similar to this. We're asking persons to please desist from it. It amounts to a very serious offense.
Unless you get permission
from the commissioner.
From the commissioner to use it in a movie.
Yes, like in a play, a stage performance.
And a movie.
If the commissioner gives that permission.
Yeah, but you know you have to go through the proper channels.
Yes, yes.
Actually, I had a colleague ask me, you know, about having police wear police uniforms and vehicles in their firm, and I was saying, you know, you go through the proper channels, through the Commissioner of Police Office. And now this question I had for you is, now that we've shown this to the public, you know, people, they may decide, oh, I could make this over, I can do something like this. How would you be able to tell? Is there some other way that, don't tell me, but is there a way that you could?
There are some security measures that will take, something that was done to the card. Some, not just one, but several.
But we wouldn't
that
know
were done to the
though.
card. And we wouldn't want persons in the public to know.
To know, but we wouldn't know as members of the public. So if somebody flashes this, you know, we will know.
No, this card is specific to TTPS, so anybody who flashes that, you're entitled to take the regimental number and name of that individual. You can always check later on to see whether or not that person was in fact a bona fide police officer. By way of the name and regimental number, because they coexist. That regimental number is for that specific person, and nobody else has that number. So well, that's as far as we can go with respect to the ID card.
So in regards to the name and the number tied together, is there a database?
Yes, we do have a database.
And is there a database that the public can access to verify that information?
Our Human Resource Department will be able to facilitate that in that area. Whenever there's a request for additional information to really identify whether or not the person was in fact a police officer, one can go to the HR Department of Police Administration Building and make your inquiries there.
Fantastic. You know, ASP Jackman, I feel we should make this a regular segment.
I believe
called
we should.
TTPS Now, you know, and when you can come in and give us some tips. Well, I don't know if it will be you because you may be too busy, but maybe someone from the TTPS, if not you, come in and with us, you know, once a week and give us
educate the public
on their rights.
What our rights are.
Sometimes this was an easy one, you know. Sometimes we might go a little hard on you when we start to talk things like towing, you know, and all that sort of stuff. But we really, really enjoyed having you here on the program.
I'm sure the
morning.
Commissioner of Police and the Executive would be very happy to assist in educating members of the public.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Lovely. And thank you very much, Ellen Lewis, for setting this interview up this morning. And I'm really serious about TTPS Now and so much more information. So we give you entertainment, information. We'll be right back after this with lots more.